Hey channel, welcome back. A little different today. You'll see I'm in a different place. There's no motorcycle to be found. Well, today I thought I'd give you a little tutorial because you guys know that I advocate for the Insta360 X5. I'm not affiliated with them. I get nothing from them. I just happen to love their product, and I think this camera right here, the X5, is a wonderful camera. It takes 8K video, 360 degrees around. I'll show you more about that in just a minute. And I'm always touting how good it is on the bike. I love it. I think if you are into moto vlogging or anything else, vacationing, whatever, this is going to be the camera for you. But a lot of folks, when I put out videos about this camera, they come back and they say, well, that's all great, Robert, but what in the world do you do with the footage? How do you process the footage? And so what I thought I'd do today is just take a sample bit of footage from camera to computer, take you guys along and let you see my workflow for creating a video. From a 360 degree video into a video that you guys are seeing here on YouTube. So let's get started with that. All right, what this is not going to be today is a tutorial on Final Cut Pro. Final Cut Pro is the software I use to create videos that you guys see here on YouTube. It's an Apple, it's actually an Adobe product. No, it's an Apple product. It's an Apple product. It works on Apple laptops like my M4 MacBook Pro here. If you have a PC, I'm sorry I can't help you, but I am going to help you. Even if you have a PC, I'm going to help you get files to the point where whatever you're using on your PC, you can use the files. So stick with me. I think even if you're using a PC, you're going to get something out of it. If you are an Apple user, you're going to get a lot out of this. So let's continue. All right, some of this is going to be very elementary, so I apologize to you guys that might be a little further down the road, and you're like, dude, I know this. I get it, but I want to start elementary and not assume that you guys know anything, okay? That's where we're going to start from. So let's just start with the camera. This is the Insta360 X5 camera, and it takes 8K video in 360 degrees. Now, what does that mean? That means if there was a sphere, hang on, I'll show you. Let's assume this globe was the video output of a 360 degree camera like this X5. No matter where you look, as if the camera was on the very inside of this globe and recording everything. You get the bottom, you get the top, you get every side, all the way around, 360 degrees in one video file. Now, to be able to use that and put that on YouTube, you don't want the whole 360 degrees. You want maybe, what is that, South America? Maybe you want South America. Maybe you want just the United States in a 16:9 format that you can pull out of this and put in a YouTube video. Well, that's what the Insta360 software is good at doing. We're going to take this 360 degree thing that you captured with this amazing camera, and we're going to cut out a 16:9 piece of it, window of it, from wherever you want. And oh, by the way, you can start with the window being right here, and then you can shift the window over here. You can shift the window down there. You can shift it up here, but it maintains 16:9 format wherever that window goes, but you have a lot of flexibility to go anywhere on the globe. Got it? Okay, let's continue. All right, 360 degree camera, how does it do it? It's got two lenses, 1, 2. They take two separate videos that are, I'm going to say, more than 180, almost 190 degrees, each of them. That means in the middle, they sort of overlap a little bit, right? And then it's got software in here that does an incredible thing. It hides the stitch line. It hides where the two connect. So it looks like one big video all the way around the camera. You can't see the stitch line, we're going to call it. That's what they call it, stitch line. It eliminates the stitch line. And also, in doing so, it eliminates the selfie stick that's on the bottom. You don't see the stick. That's why a lot of these 360 videos looks like it's some sort of drone hovering above you. it eliminates the stitch line and the stick. It's great stuff, I'm telling you. Anyway, I've got a little bit of video on here left over from the last time I did recording on the motorcycle, so we're going to take it off of this camera and I'm going to take you to my computer and show you what I do with it. Okay? Let's go. Okay, as I said, this is Robert's way. This is not the only way. You're just going to see how I do it. Take it or leave it. Okay? The Insta360 X5, we're just going to call it the X5, so I have to repeat myself. The X5 has a door at the bottom of it. When you open that door, you will see a couple of things. You will see, well, no, actually there's only one thing. There is a USB-C connection slot here, and that is to charge the camera when the battery's in there and you just want to charge it up in camera. It's also to transfer files from the camera to the laptop. So I plug in a USB-C into that port, and I plug the other piece into my computer. And if the camera is not turned on, the green light will come on saying it's just charging the camera. That's all it's doing. You've connected it to a power source, which is your laptop. It is now doing nothing but charging the camera. Okay, but as soon as I turn this camera on, and I pull up the Insta360 software, this camera is going to flip over into what it calls transfer mode. In other words, get the files off here, send them to the computer. And actually, it's just sending them to the app. It's not actually saving them on the computer. This is like an external hard drive at this point, okay? There's a way you can save it to the computer, and we're going to do that. But right now, all the files stay on this. You're just connecting to the processing software, the 360 app on the laptop through this cable. So right now, it's doing everything, manipulating files, everything on this camera, okay? So let's do that. Let's turn it on. All right, we got it turned on. You're going to notice in a minute, it's going to flip over to, yeah, there it is. I had to wait for the little message to pop up out of the way. File transfer, you see there at the top, file transfer mode. All right, let's go to the laptop and open up the software. All right, as you can see, once I turn the camera on, there's a screen pops up, a little dialog box here that says import all. In other words, bring all the video files it can find on the camera into the 360 application. You can also select files if you want to. I usually just pick the one that's highlighted, import all. So I'm going to click on that, and you can see it's bringing in 16 files that I did in the past into this application. We're going to use the second file here.
Hey, good morning, channel.
Let me mute that so you're not confused by which audio you're listening to. All right, when you bring up the file in the 360 app, like I double clicked on this highlighted one here and it brought it up in this window here. It's always going to bring it up from the perspective of one lens, usually the forward-facing lens, okay? But when I do videos, you know I'm talking to you at the first. I want the view, if you will, the 16:9 view of that globe. I want it turned around facing me, not front of the bike. So here's what we're going to do. I am going to using my mouse pad, hold down the mouse pad and use the other finger just to scoot it around. And you can see by doing that, the hand turns into a little fist and now you've grabbed the video. You can look up all the way. You can look down all the way. You can go left and right. And what I want to do is get it all the way over here so that I am in the center of the frame, because to start out the video, I want you listening to me and what I have to say. Now, I put my face in the center of the screen because if you put it too far down, you start getting a warped perspective of the horizon. Same deal if you go up too high. You start getting that fisheye warped look that I don't much care for. So I try to put my head at the very top of the middle box. And oh, by the way, these boxes are here because there's an option to add this grid or not. You can have it just a clear screen without the grid. I find the grid helps me quite a bit, so I add the grid. Okay, so I'm putting my face right at the top and sort of in the center here. And that's where I would like this video, the perspective of this video to start. When you guys first tune in, this is what I want you to see. Now, I've got to create an anchor point. So let me introduce you to the concept of a keyframe. A keyframe, think of a keyframe as a perspective anchor. I'm looking this way. I'm going to set a keyframe. I'm looking this way. Later on in the video, I might want to look this way. So I'm going to set a keyframe over here too. And that's another anchor of my 16:9 piece of the world. So it's going to go from here to here in between those two keyframes. All right. And it will move fast or slow depending on how far apart on the video timeline you have those keyframes set. If the keyframes are set close together, they're going to move. It's going to move. The transition is going to happen really fast. If the keyframes are set farther apart, it will go slowly and equally over time from one keyframe to the next, from one perspective to the next, okay? But here in this video, I want you looking at me for a while. I don't want the camera moving anywhere. Eventually, I'm going to have the camera in a different angle. But for a while, I want to set the view on me. I'm starting the view right here, so let's do that. I'm going to set a keyframe at the very beginning of the video here, and you set keyframes by this little round circle with the plus in it, okay? I'm going to set that keyframe. It brings up a dialog box that is specifically for that keyframe, and this is what a keyframe looks like in the 360 app here. It's a round yellow circle. So that round yellow circle, set it at the beginning of my timeline for this particular clip. Set the position looking at me on the bike at that horizon level, and it created a dialog box. Now in this dialog box, you have some options. It's pretty much how you want to view this screen that you're looking at here. Right now it's on Mega, which is a wider angle perspective. That 16:9 is now wider. It's still 16:9. You're just getting more in it, right? I don't much care for that. It tends to warp the edges when you're in a wide angle point of view, fisheye point of view. I like this option over here called de-warp. So I'm going to watch what happens to the screen when I click on de-warp. Now it sort of unbends the horizon a little bit. It takes away of that warped distortion, okay? So I like to have most all of my videos, unless I really need to see a wide angle look of something, if I'm talking, I want it on de-warp because I want that horizon to be relatively flat and I want you to focus on me. So here's my keyframe. I've set it to de-warp and I've got it at the very opening of this video. This is where it's going to start. Now, I want you to keep looking at me for a while in this video, so I'm going to hit play and let it go down the way a little bit. And you know I'm talking to you here, introducing you, welcome you, all that stuff. Here's what the video is going to be about, blah, blah, blah. But then at some point, I'm going to hit stop because from this point now, this white line is where I stopped. From this point forward, I want it to look a different direction. But if I move it to a different direction right now and set a keyframe, it thinks I want to move from the beginning of the video looking at me to where I've set this second keyframe looking somewhere else. So it's going to move slowly over that time period. I don't want it to do that. I want it to stay on me for this whole first section I've isolated here. So without moving the screen whatsoever, I'm going to anchor another keyframe. Here I go. Click on keyframe. It creates another yellow circle, and because I didn't move anything anywhere between the two yellow circles, keyframe 1, keyframe 2, it's going to stay locked on me. All right? Now, I gather you guys are tired of watching me talk on the bike, so for a short time, I want to point the camera forward so you can see where I'm going, see my environment. So here's how we do that. I'm going to move forward a little while longer. I haven't moved anything yet. Haven't moved the screen, perspective, nothing. I'm just going to move forward in the timeline for a little bit more. Right about there. Not too far because I want this transition to go pretty quick. Okay. Now, I'm not going to set a keyframe yet because I need to tell it where I want it to look now. So I'm going to press down on my mouse pad. The little hand goes to a fist. It means I've grabbed the video. And I'm just going to move the video around until now I'm looking out forward. I haven't changed the view from de-warp because I still like the de-warp version of this front-facing view as well. So I'm going to leave it on de-warp. But here's the deal. I'm now where I want to be. So I'm going to set, yes, another keyframe. I'm going to hit the little circle down here, anchor another keyframe. Now it's in a different position. And between keyframe number 2 and keyframe number 3, it's going to move from me to this front-facing view in that short window of time. The longer I make this window of time, the slower the progression, the slower the movement from one angle to the other. The shorter I make those 2 round yellow circles together, the quicker it's going to move, okay? So there you go with that. So now I have anchored this perspective, and I'm going to let it run for a while. I'm going to let you guys enjoy this front-facing perspective of where I'm going on the motorcycle. All right, that's enough. Y'all know where I'm going. Now I'd like you to come back to me, okay? Matter of fact, I'd like to come back to me, but I'd like you to see my bike too. Not the same view you saw before. I want you to see more of my motorcycle, okay? So here's what we do. I'm going to first set another keyframe without moving or touching anything else. I want to anchor that ending point so that between keyframe number 1, 2, 3, between keyframe number 3 and keyframe number 4, it's always facing forward and doesn't move. So I have set that keyframe. Now I'm going to move forward a little bit because now I'm in a transition period, okay? I'm going to move forward a little bit. And I'm going to stop. I've stopped the video at another spot. Here I want to put another key. Well, no. Before I put another keyframe, I want to show the video where I want it to look. Okay, so I am once again going to click and hold that video, drag it back around me, but instead of having it this close up where you only see me and not this wonderful motorcycle, I'm going to push my fingers together and it is going to zoom out. Look at that. Zoom out. And then I'm going to click and hold and push the video up. So now you see some of my motorcycle. And of course, when you do that, it's going to distort the edges of your video because you have pointed the thing down. Okay, you've pointed it down at the ground. You're taking the view of the camera that was looking pretty much down at the ground. Okay. So I'm going to anchor it with another keyframe here. And so now in between keyframes number, let's see, there's 1, 2, 3, 4. Between keyframe number 4 and keyframe number 5, it's going to transition from front to me and zoom out all in one swoop. Okay. That's where I want it to be. You can see the bike. So now, since I have those keyframes set, let's go back to the beginning and play it and watch what it does. All right, here's the front-facing view. I have nothing changed in this segment between keyframes, so it's going to stay on me. As soon as we hit keyframe number 2 here, it's going to start transitioning to the front. Let's watch it do that. There it goes, and it's going to take the entire span of keyframe 2 to keyframe 3 to make that transition. Now it's going to stay on keyframe 3 because I didn't move it during this segment. We're going to hit keyframe 4 and it's going to come back to me and zoom out. Smoothly, it does both at the same time. Flips back to me and zooms out. Now I'm going to hit stop. Now let's assume that's all I want to show you. I don't need the rest of this clip. It's just me riding. Nobody cares. I don't need the rest of this clip. This is where I want to end it. There is some beginning and end clipping tools right here that help you start at a certain point and end at a certain point. Well, I like where I started, so I'm not going to mess with the start at a certain point, but I do want to end the video, this little clip, right here. So I'm going to click on this icon right here, boom, and it shrunk that video. It's still there, but the software is telling it when I send it to output, when I create the video file out of this, I want it to end right there, okay? All right. So now I think I've done what I want to do with this particular clip. I've started at a certain perspective. I've gone a ways, talked to y'all. I've moved it to the front, let you see where we're going, stayed there for a while, and then I moved it back to me and zoomed out so you can see me and the bike, and then I ended the video. I did that by using keyframes, 5 of them, and then the end video icon to cut off the end of the video. All right. Now remember, this whole globe that this video is captured is 8K. That doesn't mean when I export this video that my video segment, which is 16:9 of that globe, is going to be 8K. The whole globe was 8K. If you take a piece out of 8K, it's not going to be 8K. It's going to be a heck of a lot better, though, than some of these other cameras. You already got a good starting place, a good foot, 8K. But you're going to crop it down to 16:9 or whatever aspect. There's other aspect ratios. I use 16:9 because that's the best one to use for YouTube. So here's what I'm going to do now. I've got all the angles set. I've got an ending where I want it to end. I'm going to go up here to export. I'm going to click on export. And then it's got a dialog box that pops up and it's going to ask me, well, okay, tell me how you want to export this. The first thing I'm going to look at down here is file path. I could rename it if I wanted to, but I don't want to. I'm just not going to rename it. If you want to rename it, this is where you do it. You want to check video because that means your 16:9 piece that you just created versus 360. If you export 360, it's going to be the whole world. And it's going to disregard what you just anchored, okay, with keyframes. So you don't want 360 video, you want regular video, and then you want to tell it where you want to put this. Well, I'm just for ease of use here, I'm going to put it on my desktop. So I'm going to select desktop as my destination for this file that I'm about to export. Bitrate. Now bitrate is important. If you want the best quality, it creates a bigger file. I don't care. I want the best quality. I don't care about bigger file. You want to move this bitrate all the way to the top. 200 is as high as it'll go. That's what you want to set it at. The higher the bitrate, the better quality your output and the bigger file. So if space is an issue for you, maybe not so much. And if you're only exporting for like Instagram or TikTok, who gives a crap about 4K and best video? You don't need it for a platform like that. You're looking at this screen, okay? But if you're going to do it on YouTube and you don't know where people are watching it, either anything from their phone to their smart TV, you want the best quality video. So I always pick the highest bitrate, 200, okay? Encoding format. Now, depending on how you recorded your video, the settings on your camera when you recorded the globe, okay, your encoding is either set to either a H.264 or H.265. I always use H.265. It's a little better. I can't explain to you why it's a little better. It is just a little better than H.264, so that's what I use. You can look it up or get somebody smart to figure it out, but I always use H.265. That's the only things in this dialog box that I set. You can see the file size is 1.04 gigabytes. Let me show you. If I back off that bit rate, look at those gigabytes. If I just go down to 100 from 200, it's half that, 500 megabytes. If I go all the way up to 200, it's 1.04 gigabytes. That's why I'm saying the higher the bit rate, the better the quality of your output. So I do that. I'm just going to hit start export. Now I could go on to my next video over here and start messing with it and formatting it while it is exporting. There's a little button up here that shows you Task Center. That button shows you that it is exporting. It's 15, 16, 17% the way, okay? So it will do its thing and you can continue working on another piece of video, another video that you captured while it's doing its thing. When it finishes, it will give you a little auditory, bell, like ding, I'm done, or some little, I don't know, slogan bell, whatever, ding, ding, saying I'm done exporting, okay? So when it does that, we're going to close this down, and I'm going to the second part of this video where I bring this into Final Cut Pro. So let's do that. I'm going to let this finish exporting, and then I'm going to close this down and open up Final Cut Pro, and I'll be right back with you. All right, I've got Final Cut Pro up here, and if you're not a Mac user, an Apple user, you don't use Final Cut Pro, you use DaVinci Resolve or something else, I'm not going to be able to help you. You might want to just tune out from this part of the video, although some of the steps in these video processors are pretty close to the same. So it might help you to watch Final Cut Pro even if you don't use it. All right. So I've got Final Cut Pro open here, and I've got my library open, which is Robert White Moto. Okay. So I want to create under Robert White Moto, I want to do File, New, Event. This is me creating every weekend a new file for you guys to see, a new video for you guys to see. That video is an event for me in Final Cut Pro. So I'm going to hit Event, and it's going to tell me, it's going to give me an ability to name the event. All right, so I'm going to call it Training. All right, it's going to tell me which library I'm saving it in, which is that one. It's going to be a 4K video, which is fine. 4K is just fine for what I use for YouTube, okay? So I'm going to leave it. There's your options. I'm going to leave it at 4K. I could do it at 8K, but not really much call for that, to be honest with you, because remember the file that was 8K when it was a globe is now something less than 8K. So I don't know if this upscales it in some way by choosing 8K here. It's just not necessary. I stick with 4K. And a lot of times it'll come up at 29.97 frames per second. That has a tendency to mess with you from time to time. So I recorded it on my camera settings. It was 8K, 30 frames a second. So I'm going to make sure that this is 4K, 30 frames a second. I want the frame rate the same. So 30 frames per second. Okay. And then I'm going to hit OK. And it puts another little section down here called Training. There's my event. It's all blank. My timeline's blank. Now I want to bring in to this event that I created the export file from the 360 that I just did. Okay. So I'm going to go up here to this little arrow, and this is sort of an import media arrow. Okay. So I'm going to click on that. I'm going to say I want to import media, and it's going to bring up a dialog box. Now go find the media you're talking about, Robert. Well, I know I saved it on the desktop. Remember that? So I'm going to click desktop. And there it is. Video, that's the file, okay? So I'm going to click on that video, and I'm going to say import. Just like that. And now I've hit import selected. I hit that once, and it's you can't see it here because this dialog box doesn't go away automatically, but it is brought in. So I'm going to close this dialog box, and there you can see the one video that I brought in. And if I play that, you'll notice it has all the mannerisms that we created a minute ago in the 360 app. It's going to look at me for a little bit. Then it's going to transition to the front. There we go. And then it'll look for the front for a little bit and then eventually come back. You see it comes back to me back here. Let's just do that. There it is, fading back to me. That's exactly what we created just a minute ago in the 360 app, and we exported as a 16:9 file that we're using here in Final Cut. All right. So I'm going to highlight that, and I'm going to hit the letter E. Now I can just drag it down to the timeline using my mouse or my mouse pad, but you can also hit the letter E, and it drops your video down into the timeline down there. Okay? So here you can just do your normal editing in your Final Cut Pro or whatever you're using. If there's a segment of it you can cut it out that you don't like, you can cut it out. If there's a segment you want to slow down, like I said, this is not going to be a tutorial for this software, but all of the things you want to do in Final Cut you can now do. And what was once a 360 globe video at 8K resolution is now a 16:9 looking exactly like you wanted it to look inside this software that you're going to create. You're going to add things like music. You're going to add an opener. You're going to add an ending. You're going to add words, whatever you want to do to your video. And then you're going to export it out of Final Cut Pro and then load it into YouTube. So guys, I know this was brief. My intent here really was to help you learn the 360
app and how I bring a video clip from camera to app, manipulate it in the app, export it to Final Cut Pro, and then use it further in Final Cut Pro. Now, Don Smith will tell you, and rightfully so, that all of that stuff I did in the 360 app, you can also do right here in Final Cut Pro by bringing the globe view into Final Cut Pro. I'm sure you can. I haven't tried it yet. It might even be better, okay? I just haven't tried it yet, so I can't show you how to do that. But that's my workflow in a nutshell. I'm glad you stuck with me today. Thank you for joining me in my home, in my office here, and learning a little bit. I hope it was helpful. I plan to do more of these, maybe a more in-depth tutorial on Final Cut Pro soon. So keep your eye open for that. And we'll talk again soon, guys. Until then, ride safe and God bless.